like to welcome to the Think Teacher platform again, Kim Hatchuel. She'll introduce herself again, but if you haven't met her yet, it means you haven't watched our introductory interview. Do you know what expertise Kim Hatchuel brings to the table for Think Teacher? So I'm going to ask Kim to introduce herself and what company she represents, and then I'm going to tell you why we're interviewing her in this particular segment.
Thank you, Kim. Lovely to be here. My name is Kim Hatchuel. I am a proofreader. My company is called A-Proofed. Been around for 7 years. I also run a small recruitment company in education recruitment. So my proofreading experience and my recruitment experience makes me perfect in terms of CVs and skills for those sorts of things.
Thank you, Kim. And it's exactly that we're focusing on today. They've actually had a few requests from people in terms of what must CVs look like today. Is it the same for a 20-year-old as it is for a 50-year-old? Because a 50-year-old's got this experience. Should we have what norms do we follow now? And Kim's got 3 quick tips for us to create a perfect CV today. So I'm going to hand over to Kim so that you can get this, Think Teachers, you can get this down to upgrade your CV. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you, Kim. So in terms of the best CV to get you into a company, there are 3 things. The length of the CV is obviously important, but obviously it can't be too short, it can't be too long. The other thing is gaps in a CV. We don't want any of those sorts of things. So I've often had people say, my CV is too long. I'm going to leave such and such out since it doesn't relate to the kind of job I'm applying for. My view is if your CV is 5 pages long, then that's absolutely fine. If your CV is 3 pages long, it's absolutely fine. But don't leave out things if you worked at a company that doesn't relate to the company that you are applying for. The other thing is obviously language in a CV is very important, layout and language, where you don't want spelling mistakes. You don't want people to think that you haven't taken the time to make a good effort. You want to really, really put your best foot forward. And then the one thing that I get asked a lot is, should I put in a cover letter on my CV? My opinion is that a short introductory paragraph is perfect. The rest of the information, as long as it's in your CV, the employer or the recruiter will get to see what Kim is all about. A cover letter, in my opinion, doesn't add value. Dear sir, yours faithfully. I think that's old, antiquated. This is who I am, 5 lines long, and the rest of the stuff, obviously, don't leave it out of the CV. So those are 3 small things. I mean, obviously there's more, but those are what I find the most helpful.
Thank you, Kim. So in terms of designing it, should I put a picture in? Shouldn't I put a picture in? Should it have subheadings? Should I bullet it?
So consistency is always key. If you want to put in a heading like education and then underneath it secondary and then underneath that tertiary, that's fine if you make it stand out. Bullet points in terms of your job description, I think is nice and clear. Picture, some people aren't happy about, but I like to put, for my recruitment CVs, I like to put a picture in. The client then gets to see what's going to walk in the door and sort of has an understanding. It's not a fashion show or a modeling contest. You're not going to be judged on your picture, but I do think if you want to put it in, do. And in fact, there's no hard and fast rule on that one. In terms of design as well, the other thing, I often see CVs where people have put in color and pictures and front pages. And I believe that unless you're applying for a design job, it's not necessary. And I know your people on Think Teacher aren't applying for design jobs.
Right.
So clear and tidy is more important.
Okay. Thanks, Kim. So you've mentioned length and you've said 3 pages is fine. What would you say is too much?
8, 10. I've seen CVs that are 19 pages long. So
no.
I've studied bachelor's in education, and then I've done an honors degree. And in my education, I've listed all the subjects for year 1, 2, 3 on all my honors subjects. It's not necessary. I've attached my academic transcripts. It's not necessary to add in things that aren't necessary. People aren't going to look. And at the same time, you want them to look at your CV and on the first page go, yes, I'd like to meet with this person. Okay. The minute you see a 19-page CV, that person is going to be long-winded in the interview too.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I see there's a trend towards send us your CV, but also send us, if you get to the next stage of the interview, send us a little video clip of yourself, which is quite intimidating for quite a few teachers. Yes. Even though we stand on a platform where this kind of filming can be quite intimidating. So, yeah, I mean, I
also believe that if somebody, and I think because we have been sitting behind our computers for the last 2 years, people are able to look you up. LinkedIn, they will look at your social media pages as well. And then LinkedIn as well is very important to, note that, because that's how we stalk candidates.
A lot of teachers aren't on LinkedIn simply because their time is tight, but you're recommending that it's a good professional space to go onto for people to check out, because you can go there, see their qualifications, see what they're interested in, see their experience. So for those maybe who feel their CVs are too long, LinkedIn is a good link to put in, to hyperlink on their CVs that you can go through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got the idea, some tips from you, Kim. Thank you very much in terms of the CVs. And I appreciate that. I mean, I must say, I redid my CV a while ago, and to cram it onto one page, because that's what I'd read, like only one page, they'll only read one page. It's quite a thing, and it ends up looking quite full. So I think it's ease of reading.
A one-page resume is, it's good if you can, but I'd rather have 2 or 3 at the most, if space is your concern, than having a cramped, where do I look for this information? And then it's too busy. People don't have time for too busy.
Got it. Yeah, thanks.
Very
Kim.
American. Resumes are very American.
Yeah, exactly. And Kim, so just as someone who professionally provides a service for people who are upgrading their CVs and don't have time to really focus, it's quite an introspective thing. I find it sometimes quite difficult to do a CV. You offer a service of doing this, and you come from a writing perspective, but also from a recruiting perspective. So how does that give you, what can you really help us with in terms of presenting the best of ourselves on paper?
So I kind of understand what companies want in a CV, and some of my clients have told me that the way the CV I send them is structured, they know exactly what they're getting, what information they're going to find. They're not going to have to ask a question. Does this person have a driver's license? Or what is this person's notice period? Or those sorts of things. And I have been told by a big private tertiary that they tend to generally look at my CVs first, sometimes only, because they, like I said, they know what they're getting. And they know that when the person walks in, and also they've had some tips from me. So when somebody does their own CV, and we've all done our own CV in the past, we put in what we like. We use our favorite font or the structure that we think is fine. It's the same as reading your own document and trying to see for mistakes. It's not going to happen. Where you use somebody who's a professional and skilled at doing certain things, I'm going to see something that you don't, and I'm going to ask you a question which you just, but my notice period's a month. Everyone should know that.
Right.
But we don't put it in, so there is that.
Oh, thank you, Kim. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's so true. that one comes with one's own ideas of how to put this together at best. But it's all, I find it a nerve-wracking experience, because you know why you're putting a CV together is you've got to put yourself out there, which is already quite a thing to do. So yeah, thanks. It's great to know.
I also do, however, don't present cookie cutter kind of, everyone's CV will not look the same. So I tend to work with what you've given me, because I get a sort of idea of what kind of style you like. And if you've chosen Calibri or Times New Roman font, I'm going to kind of stick to that, because it's not my CV, it's yours. And I can see what you like about certain things.
Yeah. Thanks, Kim. I love that, because often, I mean, I've worked in a corporate before where I've looked at CVs, and I can actually see a phrase that keeps recurring. So as you said, it comes from a cookie cutter CV, or Googling, what do I write at the top of my CV? And you can just see there's sometimes a repeated phrase. It's really great to have someone who actually gets you and writes for you, for your personality.
I've also seen hundreds of CVs on the same word template.
Yes.
Which I'm not a fan of.
Okay, understand. Yeah, you want to stand out in a good way in a pile of CVs. Yeah, 100%. Got that. Kim, thank you so much. I just want to say to the Think Teacher community, as I'm thanking Kim for her time, which she's donating to us, is that our next interview with Kim is going to be about interview tips. So we've got the CV in, you've managed to get an interview because it's a good CV. And now, how do I run a successful interview? So look out for that next short webinar with Kim Hatchuel coming up shortly. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.